From God of Mischief wanting his throne to God of Stories claiming his throne rightfully, Loki grew. It was a spectacular finale episode to Loki Season 2, but I don't think this is the last time that we ever see Loki. I'll discuss this part at the later half of this video, but first, let's discuss this episode. There were so many questions that we had before going into this episode. Some of them were answered, some of them are still searching for answers, and now there are even more questions that are born after the finale. First off, as I first saw the name of this episode, Glorious Purpose, I immediately recognized that this was the name of the first episode of the first season. And since this entire season is based on the theme of loop, I thought we'll go back to the first episode, and we did. But more important was going back to the last episode of season 1, where Loki tries to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains. Man oh man, there were literally 2 to 3 scenes where I had my hands on my head like this, and it was amazing. But let's start from the beginning. Loki goes back in time, and yes, he does replace his previous versions in that particular timeline. This is a new power that he picked up along with pausing the time. It's crazy, I know. So he tries these all different variations of actions that we discussed earlier in some of these videos as well, hoping that he will save the TVA. But nothing works. By the way, to do this, he literally gives up centuries to learn everything about the working of physics and how time works and how the TVA works and how the loom works, everything related to that, and all which was necessary, in fact essential for him to learn for what he did later. We'll discuss this later. But anyways, he learns when Sylvie killed He Who Remains, the TVA was doomed. So he goes back to when Sylvie tried to kill He Who Remains, but he can't make the hard choice. He can't kill Sylvie. Now this is where Loki shows to He Who Remains that he can pause time. Now that was sick, very very sick. Further he learns if he destroys the loom, it will end everything. But he says he'll find a way. And he goes back further when he was first brought into TVA, having that interrogation scene with Mobius. Here we learn some more things about Mobius' relationship with Lenslayer, but the main thing from this scene was that Loki learns a very important thing from Mobius. Mobius tells Loki that he have to make the hard choice, that the hard choice have to be made, there is no comfort in that, and you just have to choose your burden. Now this line was fundamental in Loki doing what he did at the end of this episode. Further, Loki goes back to the time where Sylvie, at the end of the 5th episode essentially, he explains everything to her, that he learned how to control time slipping and all, and that the loom was actually a failsafe to save the sacred timeline, blah blah blah. But again, the main takeaway from this scene was that Sylvie teaches Loki another very important lesson, that sometimes it's okay to destroy something if it can be replaced with something better. That's it. That was the final nail in the coffin for Loki to finally step up and do what he did at the end and make the ultimate sacrifice really. He goes back and destroys the loom, and he takes a few timelines, joins them and makes a tree of those timelines. We also see Loki in the OG suit. Perfect. But now let's look at some other questions. Now that there is this new TVA which is not run by any timekeepers, but the sole purpose of this TVA is to prevent any version of Kang to appear and prevent the multiversal war. And did you notice here, they even mention Earth 616, and I think they were referring to the events of Quantum Mania. Maybe we'll check that out later. Sylvie takes Mobius to Earth to see his life. OB, Casey and Hunter, B-15 stay at the TVA. And Loki is overlooking everything from his throne. It was brilliant. Now this is just me fresh out of watching this episode. I know I have a lot of things to unpack. I have noted them down as well. I'll make more videos on those points in this coming week, but it was amazing. By the way, as I mentioned at the start of this video, that I don't think this is the last time that we see Loki. Let me explain about that. Because yeah, there is no official announcement of a season 3, but I think after this phenomenal success of Loki, they have to make a season 3 or at least a movie, which I know this sounds outrageous because it is not even announced yet, anything like that, but still I think Loki has to come back because now they have made Loki such a powerful character, and his overlooking everything, every timeline and managing all those timelines, he is very essential for this entire multiversal war to even start and to even end. But he has to come back, and he will come back, and Loki, you are a genius. But we'll make more videos on Loki in this coming week, so make sure you come back. And please consider subscribing the channel because we are very close to hitting 1000 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching.